I was, I don't want to call myself Kevin Durant, but I was the one who like joined the Splash Brothers in this situation. I was like, hey, I'm going to go try to win a ring with them.
Move the chains. Next, we're talking Saints football and the NFL draft with one of the most trusted voices covering the team, Mike Triplett. After years at the Times-Picayune and ESPN, Mike now brings his insight to NewOrleans.Football alongside Nick Underhill. From roster needs to draft strategy and, of course, his latest mock draft. We've got plenty to break down. Mike, great to have you with us.
You sick of mock drafts yet?
Listen, we're going to talk about all. This is an exciting week for Saints fans and for, of course, the team itself.
You know what's funny about the mock drafts is I constantly think a guy is on a team, like got drafted by a team, and then I'm like, oh no, he was just projected to go to that team. He actually never played for that team, and I just remember it wrong. My draft season lasts a lot longer than the draft itself.
I bet.
But thanks for having me.
It's great to have you with us. We're heading into this week's NFL draft. It'll be happening all weekend. What's your overall read on where the Saints are standing right now with the draft, and are they in a win now mindset or still building towards something bigger?
I think they're more win now than we would assume for a rebuilding team. It is year 2 of a rebuild, and they know that. They're aware of that. But also this Tyler Shuck bomb that dropped into their lap, they realize that's the biggest cheat code in sports, probably. Definitely in the NFL, having a quarterback you can win with on a rookie contract. And that will be true for 3 more years. So, he's not going to cost a lot. They're able to spend money in free agency, try to win while they have that before, if he turns out to be what everyone hopes he is, before he has to start making $50 million a year. Like this is a window, and obviously the NFC South hasn't run away from them. So I think they are a little more win now. I personally hope that doesn't translate to what we've seen from this team a lot, and being over-aggressive in the draft and like trading next year's first to move up. I would kind of like to see them stay put or maybe just move up 1 or 2 spots. But I'm not ruling anything out. I've seen them trade up too many times to rule that out.
Well, you talk about the strategy, and Mickey Loomis and Jeff Ireland's history has been go for it, right? Where is Coach Moore in that equation?
It's a good question. And I think his input will be hugely valuable. I think that's always been true. I think that was obviously true of Sean Payton. I think it was true of Dennis Allen. I think it will be every decision they make will be a collaboration between those 3. I don't know how much say he'll have over draft capital, but if he convinces them, hey, if we get Jeremiah Love, I promise you it's going to look like the Eagles when we just won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That would carry a lot of weight in that room. If he said, hey, we need to get David Edwards, give me the best left guard you can find to make my offense run, I think that carried a lot of weight with the left guard position. But I don't think he'll quite be as dominant in the room as Sean Payton was.
Well, given the roster as you know it today, what do you think the most likely path is going to be?
We've talked about best available player all the time, and I believe it. I think the Saints' history shows that they've done that a bunch of times. Some of their best draft picks came, when they took Deuce McAllister when they didn't need a running back, and Will Smith when they didn't need a defensive end, and Alvin Kamara when they didn't need a running back, and Ryan Ramczyk when they didn't need a right tackle. I mean, that happens all the time. It's about the grades. But I think it's especially true this year because they have so many needs. I mean, they need everything. I would rule quarterback out at number 8, and I would maybe rule offensive tackle out at number 8 unless they see a guy they could move to guard. I think every other position is on the table. I think they have to get a receiver at some point. Yeah. That doesn't have to be round 1, though. So I think some of these non-traditional positions like running back, like safety, like linebacker, like tight end, there are top 10 prospects at all those positions. I've said it a million times. The Saints, they need more all-pros on this team. They need foundational players. They need guys who are going to be in the NFL Network top 100 list. They need to find that guy. You have the number 8 pick very rarely. It's the first time since 2008 that they've had a pick this high. You got to hit on it, and I don't care what position that's at it.
You've just done a mock draft over the weekend.
Sure.
It was Nick and Mike's big board. Walk us through the first 7.
So for this one, for the big board purposes, we were kind of like ranking, the wish list. And so we did put Mendoza on that. even though the Saints say, but I think we all think Mendoza's going to go number 1. I think we had Arvell Reese at number 2, maybe he might have put Jeremiah Love at number 2, Arvell Reese, David Bailey. These are 4 guys that I just don't think are realistic possibilities for the Saints. I think they'll probably be the top 4 picks, or they won't fall much more after that. And then I think it got into Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, 2 more realistic options for the Saints. I think Sonny Styles seems like he's got a lot of buzz. I don't think he'll be there. Then it got into the receivers, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate. And the Saints will have to decide if they want to fill that receiver need right away in round 1. And then I think we might have settled on Reuben Bain as the number 8 guy, but he's maybe the guy who could go 5th or 15th or later. He's got the arm length question, but the incredible production in college. I'm very curious what happens with him in the draft. I'd like to think, though, in a scenario like that, if the Saints' big board looked exactly like the one we put together, it's the kind of draft where they can get their number 5 guy. Like, if they have their top 8, they better, they hope the rest of the league doesn't take their top 7 with the first 7 picks. That's when you usually trade up, when the draft has fallen that way. Hopefully for them, they end up with one of their top 5 or 6 guys.
Yeah, I was going to ask you as well about the rest of the NFC South. Obviously, we really need to make a difference there. And,
no question.
And how do we compare with
well, Atlanta went all in last year and ended up with the 2 first-round picks to improve their pass rush. They pulled their best Saints imitation last year, so they don't have a first-round pick this year. And then one of the guys they drafted is facing some legal issues. They're going to be really interesting because they've added Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterback to compete with Michael Penix or hold the place until Penix gets healthy. That's a team that still has so much talent. They've been picking in the top 10 year after year after year, stockpiling that talent. Quarterback is the one thing they haven't gotten right yet. So if either of those guys hits, they're probably the favorite in the division. Tampa Bay has just never gone away, even though they're getting a little older. And then Carolina had the offensive rookie of the year in Ted McMillan. They're finally shoring up Bryce Young, and they'll be picking soon after the Saints, and probably a similar mode. It's not like they're one player away. It's about stockpiling talent for them too. And
the team is always a team people watch for trades, right? Do you think, or do you have a sense that they may go up or move back?
It would be a good year to move back, in my opinion, but I will never believe they're going to do that. The way Mickey Loomis has always explained it is, when you move up, you know who you're moving up for. You're moving up to get a player that you love. When you move back, you don't. You're moving back for a mystery box, and they don't believe in the mystery box idea. Now, I supported that a lot more when this team we used to be able to write 45 players on their roster in ink every offseason from 2008 through 2014, we were able to do that. And they only did need a couple of players. And it happened again after that 17 draft. This was probably the most talented team in the league from 2017 to 2020. So you make a move for a Marcus Davenport, which didn't fully pan out, but you're like, one more player could put us over the top. That is not this team. I don't think they're one player away from anything right now. But I do think they'll be competitive, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they made a run at the NFC South this year.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Is there one player, maybe not the obvious name, that the Saints fans should be looking for?
Well, it depends.
They might see.
It depends if they're watching, all the reporting in real time. I mean, I think Caleb Downs is, for the safety from Ohio State, feels like the most likely guy to me. I feel like that's about where he'll get drafted. He fits an obvious need for them after they let Alontae Taylor go in free agency. He would be that nickel back, kind of star position player. He would blitz sometimes, kind of like what Malcolm Jenkins used to do. And Brandon Staley loves those type of players. He had Jalen Ramsey. He had Derwin James. He uses those kind of guys. I mean, it feels like that's the stars align pick. But then Jordan Tyson, the receiver from Arizona State, is a guy who there's been a lot of steam. Like Nick's done some reporting that he thinks the Saints' interest in him is real. He just had his pro day trying to prove to teams that he's healthy after he's been dealing with this hamstring injury. He's a guy that maybe if you've only been glancing at the occasional mock draft, he was going in the teens. I think he's going to end up being a top 10 pick after all, and so he's very much in play for the Saints.
Good. Let's talk about your history.
Sure.
You made a huge move from ESPN to join Nick Underhill.
Yeah.
What went into that decision?
Well, I mean, I love my time at ESPN, and I mean, it's a dream for anyone in this business to get to work for ESPN. And not only did I get to cover the Saints for them, I got to do a lot of fantasy work, which I really liked, and like all the people I got to work with are the best in the country at what they do. But what I'm doing now is kind of like I missed covering the team that way, like what we're doing right now. Like we're doing
really
3 podcasts a week.
Yeah.
We're talking Saints. We're talking. Trade up, trade down. We're talking, offensive line. We're talking like just everything, fan questions, fan events like we just had at Loft 18, like for all the fans who live it, breathe it, at ESPN, it was a little bit more of a, when do they hit the national radar? It's a lot about writing about the stars or the breaking news or things like that. But I kind of like the nitty gritty. I love the podcast, and I love teaming up with Nick. It's awesome to have a teammate. That's kind of how I started at the Times-Picayune for years when, there'd always be 2 or 3 or 4 of us, or the year we covered the Super Bowl, 20 of us covering the team. It's nice to have a teammate to bounce ideas off of each other and do all that. So, this is like me getting to be myself, my analysis, my opinions, my, just casual conversation. It's my favorite way I've ever covered the team, for sure.
You're entering a time of the Saints history that is very exciting as well. I mean, like you mentioned, Tyler Shuck, the last part of last season, and then what's happening with the draft. And
no question. Yeah. It's taken a while, though. I joined Nick in... So it's funny. Everybody's asked me what I thought. And first of all, what Nick has,
he's such
he gets all the credit.
Analysis guy, right?
He gets all the credit for what NewOrleans.Football is. I mean, he started it on his own. I've never been more impressed by anyone who's covered a team in any fashion anywhere, much less here in our local market. So, I was, I don't want to call myself Kevin Durant, but I was the one who joined the Splash Brothers in this situation. I was like, hey, I'm going to go try to win a ring with them. But when I joined, it was 2022. Wow. And so I signed up to join Nick to where we are like boots on the ground with the fans, totally, constant, and then spent 3 years with the fans absolutely hating this team. So it's been, except for the real diehards, we see them, we see the real diehards are still showing up for the Saints home games in recent years. But this is a nice, refreshing, overdue, refreshing, and I don't even mind if they're 8-9 or 9-8 this year, because they're building towards something, and that's what was missing the last few years. It didn't feel like they were building towards something. It felt like they were trying to hang on to something the last few years. So, I mean, this is reminiscent of 06, 07. I'm not calling Tyler Shuck Drew Brees, and I'm not calling Kellen Moore Sean Payton, but just the idea that, hey, there's something interesting going on here. I want to see where they take it.
Yeah, it's building and managing fans' expectations, and I think they've been doing that very well.
That's also very different from 06. There weren't expectations in 06. Expectations became sky high. It's like, wake me up when you're going to win a Super Bowl now. That's what we want to see. We've tasted it.
Everyone is feeling the same things about the enthusiasm that's happening right now. Well, listen, all of us have been big fans of yours through the years, and you always bring great insight, and deeply appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mike Triplett with the NewOrleans.Football. He and Nick Underhill making things happen. You can trust their voice, and be sure to check out the latest coverage as the NFL draft gets underway, beginning this weekend. And it actually starts Thursday and will run through Saturday. We'd love to have you back during training camp, and maybe you can talk through what you saw in the draft.
For sure.
Deeply appreciated. Mike, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, y'all, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel and turn on your notifications. Please follow us. We've got new shows each and every week. And a very, very special thanks to all of our sponsors who are making this possible. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.